Hello, welcome to today's Leadership Advancement Mentorship podcast, where we highlight the leadership journey of great leaders, how they became aware of their leadership potential, and how they have invested in themselves to become the leader that they are today, and also how mentorship has shaped their leadership journey. With me today is fellow Maxwell Leadership coach, speaker, and trainer, Coach Sherri McLeroy. How are you, Coach Sherri?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm doing better than good.
Good.
So excited to have you on the lamp. And we've had great leaders like Chris Robinson has been here, Dr. Kenisha. I mean, so much. And it's such a great and honor to have you right here today. So tell us something about yourself, please. Yeah.
Yes. Well, thank you. It's my honor to be here.
Mm,
I am an educational leader. I work in private education, worked in public education for
mm,
24 years and helped start a school a couple of years ago. And
mm,
now I work in a private school in the Atlanta, Georgia area. And
mm,
so for me, my leadership journey really takes place in a
mm,
school setting. Uh,
mm.
so that's kind of a little bit about me right now. I'm a wife and a mother and
Mm.
a principal of a school. I own my own company, a small
Wow.
company for coaching and consulting and speaking. And
Mm.
recently I have my very first ever published children's book. So
Wow, that's
yes,
awesome. I remember that. I remember that.
yes,
Valerie Button called you on stage.
she did. Yes, it's been
Yeah,
such a
that
fun
was good.
journey. Yes, so
Yeah.
good things. Yes.
Oh, that was awesome. What's the title of your children's book?
Yes, so the title of my book is called Purposefully Made. I actually have a copy here in case
Oh,
you
let's see.
want
Let's
it.
see it.
This is it. It's
Woo.
a children. Well, let's see if I can get it lined up. It's a
Wow, yeah,
children's
yeah,
book,
yeah.
and
Wow.
it helps children kind of walk through a journey and ask questions about maybe why they were created and what their role might be as they grow up. So it has some coaching questions at the end. It
Mm,
helps them discover that they were made on purpose for a
mm,
purpose. And their job's
mm,
to try to figure out what that is by looking at their
mm.
strengths and their areas of giftedness. So it's
Wow.
been a fun
Wow.
book launch. Kind of
Mm.
it's my newest project to try
Wow.
to
You know
inform
what?
other people.
I think you should start thinking about doing one of those for adults too.
Well, I'm writing. This is
Really?
funny
And
you.
adults need that too. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
I've
For
had
real. For real. For
adults
real.
tell me that my book has impacted them. So that's a
Yeah.
really, really nice thing.
Exactly. Yeah, really. That was beautiful. That was highly inspirational. Now, when did you realize this leadership potential? How
Hmm.
did you become aware of it? And how did you find out? Did somebody just call you out? Or did somebody tell you about when was that? Is it when you were young or when you become old? At what age did you become aware of this leadership potential?
Yes, thank you for asking. That's a huge part of my story,
Mm,
and part of why I wrote my children's book. When I was a little girl,
mm,
I'm one of four children, and I
mm,
used to always compare myself to my siblings. And so my mother took me on a journey to try
mm,
to help me discover where my strengths lie and where my areas of giftedness were. And
mm,
in doing that, I tried a lot of different hobbies and
mm,
different activities.
mm,
What she helped me discover is that I was a leader and I could get people to follow me, that I had influence. And so
mm,
then she started mentoring me because sometimes I did not always, when I was a child, use my influence for good. I could persuade people to do things maybe that were a little mischievous, and
mm,
less than what we would want them to do. And so my mother tried to help shape and hone me into becoming a leader worth following. And then
mm,
from there, my leadership journey kind of morphed and grew because I think self-awareness is a huge part of leadership. And so
mm,
my mom and dad were the first people that helped me become more self-aware of maybe
mm.
how I would come off. Like when they'd call me bossy, they would say, "Don't be bossy. Let's figure out a way that you can take, you may know how to do something, but the way you help other people, help
Mm,
teach them that." And so, my parents were a huge part of my leadership journey. Both of them were
mm,
leaders in the community that I grew up
mm.
in. And my dad is still alive. He is 87 years old
Wow.
and still a
Mm,
leader. And
mm.
anyway, they were the two people probably that shaped me the most. But we
Wow,
had
wow.
many
Mm,
magnificent other people. I had a
mm,
fifth grade teacher who
mm,
recognized something in me when I was a child.
mm.
I'm still friends with her today.
Wow, that was
Yes,
awesome.
I know.
Wow.
And then just different people along my journey that have
Mm,
poured in or seen something in me that I maybe didn't see in myself. And
mm.
for them to point out the good they saw rather
Yeah,
than looking at the things that weren't so good. Because there's some things behind the curtain that are not so good. Like we have to,
yeah,
the
yeah.
self-awareness part of
Exactly,
honing
exactly.
in on that is very important. So
Yeah, yeah. Quick question, Sherry.
yes.
The question I want to ask is that you say you 1 out of 4. What's your position? Are you the first child or the last born, the middle child, the
Such a
second?
great question. I have an older brother and he lives in the Houston area, and
Mm.
I'm the second child.
Okay, okay,
And
okay.
then I
Yeah.
have a sister a couple of years younger than I am, and I have
Mm.
a younger brother. So
Okay.
I'm in the middle. Uh,
Okay. Got you. Okay, now, so did a mom find that one out, but they're looking at, oh, they're like a bossy Sherry that we don't want you to be bossy. Yeah. I remember I used to work in Salvation Army. I have a little girl, she's a white little kid. They used to say that, when the stepmom brings her, I said like, watch her. She's kind of like bossy. So her name is Kate. I'll say that, Kate, are you bossy? I said, I'm not bossy, kind of that. Like, but the thing is, I believe what they are calling bossy was they just saw that that's a leadership, but they just want that to be directed in the right way. So at what time do you start making that adjustment and investment in yourself intentionally as a leader? At what
yes.
point?
So probably in high school, um,
Oh,
any leadership opportunity that presented itself,
yeah.
whether it be running for student government or
Mm.
leading a club, or I started a clown ministry where we would go to nursing homes and
Really?
minister to people when I was a teenager. But my mom and dad were very influential in, like, I wasn't allowed to watch a lot of TV as a child, and so they wanted me to get out and make a difference in my community. And so
Mm,
I did that, and
mm,
I had some really wonderful educators, youth group leaders through my church that afforded me opportunities to start learning how to lead. And the amazing thing was people would follow. And so
mm,
just making sure that I kept honing it, the humility to receive feedback and grow was
mm.
probably one of the keys when I was in middle school. And then
Yeah.
middle school and high school, when I went off to college, I, I- you know, I continued to hone my leadership capability. I was hungry
Mm,
to grow, hungry to learn, really had a passion and a love for reading and learning.
mm,
And it's fun when doors open up where if you make yourself available and you want to
mm,
lead, there are so many opportunities for people to step up to the plate
mm,
and take on roles. So I think that hunger and thirst for being a good leader had my
mm.
parents instilled that in me, and then taking action, finding a problem that needs to be solved and then being
Yeah.
the person willing to step up and say, oh, I
Mm,
have some ideas. Let's try this. Let's do
mm,
this. But
mm,
really, honestly, about serving other people. My parents were really huge on making sure that we were always giving back to our community
mm.
through different adventures. Sometimes we grew vegetables in a vegetable garden on our property, and we would go and sell them in the neighborhood. So I learned a little bit about entrepreneurship,
Wow.
taking vegetables in a wagon, and the marketing of it and the smiling at people, and then the
Mm.
persuasion of trying to get people to want to buy
Buying. Yeah.
vegetables. Or like noticing my grandmother had been in a nursing home, and so part of why I developed that clown ministry was because I saw how lonely some of the residents were, and they always loved it when we would go and visit my grandmother. She had Alzheimer, and so she didn't always recognize us, but we would go and
Mm,
just sit, and listen to them tell the stories and sing to them or read to them or
mm.
ask them questions so that if something triggered a memory for someone in an
Yeah.
Alzheimer's unit,
Yeah.
but really just continually finding ways to give back in our community is
Mm.
probably where most of my leadership development took place at a young age.
Wow,
Yes.
wow, that's awesome. Yeah. Wow, this is really great. Now, Sherry, I mean, based on what you're sharing, that means for you, you've been in leadership for a long time, just like doing all this. What's the greatest leadership lesson that you've learned?
Mm.
Now reflecting back in your days and at the moment. So, what's the greatest leadership lesson that you've learned?
Probably that leadership is not about me. It's
Mm,
always about other people.
mm,
And finding who needs leadership,
mm.
who can I lead, who can I serve?
Yeah.
Because the service part to me of leadership, um, I feel like when leaders get in trouble is when they start putting the focus back on themselves
Mm,
rather than the people that perhaps they've been called to serve. And
mm,
so, like, and that's hard, that balance between having confidence and
mm,
having humility. And for
mm.
me, the service part of it, just having that mindset that I'm here to serve other people, or as John Maxwell says, add value to other
Yeah.
people.
Yeah.
In
Mm,
serving people, we are adding value. And if we look around ourselves, there are people everywhere who need
mm.
to be served. Uh,
Yeah.
so
Mm.
getting a little bit outside of myself and not being self-centered,
Yeah.
like we could have that mentality that, oh, it's all about me, or hey, look at
Mm,
me, but it's really not. It's about the other people around us that maybe we can impact for
mm.
good. Um,
Wow. That's awesome. Really.
thank you.
I mean, you sharing some gold right now. One of my favorite, in fact, if I would say one of my favorite quotes is from Ellen Keller. And that says life is an exciting business and it's most exciting when lived for others. I just like that word, others.
Mhm.
And I used to work in Salvation Army. There was this time when I got an award for being the employee and the Salvation Army Employee of the Year for the Greater Philadelphia area in 2018. And so it was a very great occasion. So they share a story during that event about General William Booth. One time he was supposed to be in a conference and he couldn't make it. And they were like, okay, well, since you couldn't make it, you now realize that in days of Telegram, in case you listen to me and say, what does Telegram means? Just go and ask Mr. Google and Google it. You can get what Telegram means. It's just like a text message in those days, form of a messaging. So he now sent a message that they should read to them in the convention. And they were surprised, when the message came in, it was only one word that was in that message. And when they opened it, others.
Mm.
And that was it. He
Mhm.
just wants people to know that it's all about others.
Yes.
And that's just been where significance comes from. And there are two books. One of the two, one, I'm reading. I read books every day. So one of the books in the collection that I'm reading is one of them is called Halftime by Bob Buford. The second one is Game Plan by Bob Buford. So Halftime just talks about how people can reflect on the first half of their life.
Mm.
Because the first of our life, we just want to, become successful. We're seeking success. And it's okay. That's where we all start from. So, but what he encouraged in the book is the second half should be about significance.
Mm.
And that's significance all about others. So, based on your own leadership and what you've seen, what you've learned, so what does significance look like to you? Since right now we're talking about, I want to make the title of this podcast, Leadership is All About Others. So,
Mm.
because significance is all about others. So, when you talk about others, it's all about significance. I mean, when you talk about success, it's all about you. It's all about you. It's all about getting all you can, putting in the can, and sitting on the can. It's all about you.
Mm.
But when you taste significance, success no longer satisfies. So, can you share with us, based on your own experience, how what is your own take about significance, which is all about others?
Sure. Thank you for asking. That's kind of a powerful question. And I guess I'll lead a little bit by telling you just a little bit about my background that I
Mm,
didn't mention earlier, but I'm a follower of Jesus Christ and
yeah.
just
Mm,
believe that each person was made in his image. I believe he created us
yeah.
and he put us on this earth for a
Mm,
reason, for a
mm,
purpose.
yeah.
And so when I look around at others and I'm thinking about other people, I look at them through the lens that they were made in the image of God. He created
Mm,
them and he created them for a purpose. He created me for a purpose.
mm,
And so when I'm thinking about their significance, if I can grasp hold of the idea that we're all made differently, we all have our own thumbprint, um, and we're unique, we're different. Like the gifts that
mm,
I have and the gifts that you have are different, but ultimately we're all here to glorify God and then serve other people. And that's what a life of significance looks like to me.
mm,
And so no
mm,
matter what capacity, like for me, I work with young children and I work with parents and families. I work with teenagers sometimes or college
mm,
age kids, or sometimes I'll coach women who just, are wanting to grow as leaders. But no
mm.
matter who I'm sitting in front of, that person is significant. God has a
Yeah.
plan for them,
Mm,
made on purpose, and they were made for a specific purpose. And if I get to be a part of their story, that
mm.
is the best thing in the world to me.
Wow, that's awesome. That's great. That's a very great mindset. And because, like I said, when we focus on others, and that's when we begin to find significance. In fact, someone said that when you chase significance, then success can find you.
Mhm.
And because a lot of people just say, "Oh, I want to be successful," but the ultimate of success is not success itself, and it's all about significance. So, what's the greatest lesson that you've learned as a leader?
Ooh, the greatest lesson I've learned.
Mm,
Mhm. There's so many of them. I
mm,
usually learn from my failures. So I
mm,
guess some resilience that, to keep on keeping on, even
mm,
when things get hard.
mm.
I would say maybe like during COVID, when COVID hit,
Yeah.
in the educational space, like
Mm,
everyone had an opinion about everything.
mm,
Mask or no mask,
mm,
vaccines or no vaccines, and
mm,
all of it, we took the focus off the people, the humanity that were hurting, and they put it on other things. And
mm,
it was a hard time, and a lot of people in my field of work um, felt abandoned by people. Everyone had an opinion and they were voicing the opinion. That became very, very difficult. And for
mm,
me, the idea that I'm going to get up every morning, put a smile on my face, and I'm going to go serve the people
mm.
that God called me to serve. And I'm going to do
Yeah.
it carefully. And I'm going to not let the noise that's blaring on all sides detract me from the mission that God
Mm,
called me to do. And so I think that was a hard season for me as an
mm,
educator,
mm.
but that resilience and tuning out the noise and just keeping on,
Yeah.
persistently going after what I felt my mission, what I was put on this earth to do.
Mm,
And out of that came a lot of really wonderful opportunities to love people and serve people well. So
mm.
I feel like if we just keep showing up and
Yeah.
be consistently from day to day, uh,
Yeah. Mm,
develop those habits, that mindset of we've got this, let's keep going, even through the hard, we plow through.
mm.
That resilience is huge, a huge leadership lesson.
Wow, that's great. So, listen to you. I'm just listening to about the lesson of resilience, and not being moved by failure, that you can learn from your failure. Even the word fail itself is first attempt in learning. Dr. John Maxwell said, you've not failed when you learn from it. The real failure is when you don't learn from that experience. Wow, that's great. And quickly, as we begin to wrap up, and can you talk about what role has mentorship played in your life? Yeah.
That's probably been one of the most powerful tools to my growth. It started with my parents, of course,
Mm,
but as a young leader, there were people in college who mentored me and poured into me as a leader, but also as a teacher. I started
mm.
out as a teacher. So that was really great. There are certain people when I started in the field of education that I'm still friends with today. This is year 35 for me of being an educator. So
Really?
yes, and there's people like there's a lady, Terry Floyd. She and I went to college together, and she has just poured into me as a friend and a mentor, and a
Mm,
lady named Jeannie Brown. And then, of
mm,
course, I pay to be part of the Maxwell Leadership team. I pay to be in their mentorship program. And about 5 years ago, I went and got my certification with Maxwell Leadership. But the the new type of mentors that I've had pouring into me, not just in the education space, but in leadership space,
mm,
have changed my life. And
mm.
what I find is this very life-giving community who they really truly care about
Yeah.
me and my growth. And
Mm,
I don't feel like I don't shy away from asking questions when I don't understand something. Um,
mm,
or I'm the hunger still to learn that my parents instilled that when I was young, but I
mm,
still have it. I still wake up, and if
mm,
there's a call that I miss, I'll go back and catch a replay on a call because I'm like, ooh, I really want to learn from this person. They have skills in an area that I would benefit from. So for
wow.
me, that mentorship has played a huge role for me. I also
Mm,
I look for mentors everywhere I've ever worked.
mm,
I look for the people who have a skill set that's different than what I have because that helps me keep growing. And I remain, I think the word I would use is curious. Um,
mm.
the curiosity for what can someone else teach me because I know that I will never arrive and know everything.
Yeah.
The hunger and the curiosity to learn
Mm,
from other people, that to me is the key to mentorship. And just there are so many remarkable people in the world that are willing to help. If you're
mm.
willing to humble yourself and say, I don't know how to do this, there
Yeah.
are people who will help you learn
Yeah.
how to do it. You just have to have
Mm.
that humility and that posture of, I want to learn, I want to grow.
Wow, that's awesome. In fact, just like what you talk about now, it reminds me what Dr. John Maxwell said. He said, teachability is possessing the intentional attitude and behavior to keep learning and growing throughout life. And he's the one that talk about there are three different attitudes to learning. So the first one is, the arrogant attitude that says no one can teach me anything. And the second one is the naive attitude that says only one person can teach me everything. Except the last one is the teachable attitude that said everyone can teach me something. And of the truth, Sherry, we've been learning so many things from you, what you've been sharing. And a quick question for you now. And what advice will you give to little Sherry?
Little Sherry.
What leadership advice will you give to little
That's
Sherry
such a great
that is
question.
just starting up? Yeah.
So for me, a little bit, that's part of why I wrote my children's book. I'm looking, I'm on the second end of my life right now, but I look at the children that I get to pour into as an elementary principal, and I think, what message long after I'm gone do I
Mm,
want to instill in them? And for me, it's about that God made them. He made them
mm,
for a purpose.
mm,
Their job is to discover that purpose. And what I wish, I mean, I had great parents and people pouring into me. I wish I had discovered my purpose, and uh, I wish I had grown even faster than I did because
mm,
I just still have this hunger. And little kids, I want them to be curious. Little
mm,
Sherry, I want her to show up earlier,
mm,
ready, eager, hungry to learn, hungry to grow, and hungry to serve other people.
mm. Wow, that's good. Yeah. So my last question for you is this. If there's one change you can make in this world, what will it be?
Oh, in the whole wide world.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
I like wow question.
I know this is a wow question because it's really big. If I only get to pick one, I would wish for three more wishes.
You
But
can only
I
one
know I get
wish.
one. I get one. I know. Um, you know, I I want people to hunger and thirst for things of the Lord. and have the desire to know him and have a relationship with him.
Yeah.
And so I'm not trying to be religious or anything, but it changed my life when I got to know who Jesus was and what he did
Yeah.
for me.
Mm.
And for me, that's it's part of my value system. It's
Yeah.
part of my
Yeah.
DNA. And
Yeah.
so
Mm.
I know people
I don't
think
believe this is a religion thing. This is a relationship because
it is a relationship.
yeah,
And so
it's all about relationship. Yeah. Yeah.
that's right. And so
Yeah.
for me, I know some people don't believe, and I'm going to love them anyway and
Yeah.
serve them anyway. But
Yeah.
if I only have that one wish, that's what I would wish for people, that they could understand what that relationship could do
Mm.
for them and how much
Wow.
it can change and transform a life.
Wow. Wow. That's awesome. That's great. So
Thank you.
Sherri, where can people find you? I know where to find you. People are hearing and say, wow, we just love this woman. Where can people find you on
Well,
social
thank
media?
you. Yeah, so I have an author website, sherrimcleroy.com. I do go and do training and speaking events around the United States and have spoken internationally as well. So sometimes educational conferences will contract me to come and do trainings for them. But I have a new author website and author Instagram account, Sherri McLeroy. And then I also am on LinkedIn. I'm pretty active on my social media channels
Yeah,
because that's
I
one
know
of the
you are.
ways. Well, it's one of the ways I network with great people like you because I
I
feel like I can kind of
know
get to know the pulse of people. And it's a way to encourage. Our world needs more encouragement.
yeah, yeah,
I feel like encouragement can change everything.
yeah.
And I can just
Mhm,
be one small bright spot in someone's day by
mhm,
offering a word of encouragement over something that's going on in
mhm,
their life or something cool that they post. It sounds
mhm.
small, but I think it can be a significant way to pour into other people. So,
Wow.
so sherrimcleroy.com.
Mm,
It's SHERRI, and then McLeroy is spelled MCLEROY. Uh,
wow,
so I
that
have,
was
yeah.
awesome.
So if you want to
Yeah.
reach out, I love to have friends on Facebook and Instagram and
Mm,
LinkedIn. So
that's awesome.
thank you for
Yeah.
asking.
Oh yeah, Sherri, you've been so phenomenal. We just want to say thank you
Thank you.
and for making it this podcast. We just love you. We thank you for all that you shared, the value that you bring
Mm.
to this community, and we just appreciate you for that. Viewers, you've had a lot from Coach Sherri McLeroy. It's been a great time. But I will tell you something. So what you see, she's not funny. That's how she is. When you meet her live, what you see is what you get. And I want you to know one thing, that take one thing from today's podcast and do the application. I guarantee you transformation. And don't forget, until we see you next time with another leader, learning is not enough. Without application, there will be no transformation. So let's apply what we're learning to experience transformation. Thank you and see you all the time. Bye bye.